friends, Dean here with Escape to Gaming. Today I want to do a little vlog about YouTube, about why I love YouTube, what I love about the gaming community on the internet, and frankly, kind of how I discovered, the YouTube and the whole gaming community, which is kind of an interesting story. I'm kind of a caveman. I'm way behind the times with a lot of things when it deals with technology or the internet. I still have a flip phone. I don't have one of these smartphones. I've always been kind of behind the eight ball. But I'm slowly catching up and learning what I have to do. I learn to kind of adapt and improvise as I get older. I still kind of wrestle inside with, hang on to the old ways of doing things. Even in graphic design, I wasn't so quick to adapt to everything on computer. I still ink logos by hand. I did my little Escape to Gaming sign that, many people have seen in the background. I painted that all lovingly by hand. I mean, that's just how I still do things. So I'm kind of torn between embracing technology and what's new and wrestling with the old ways of doing things, whether it's artistically or anything else. So you'll have to bear with me with my show. It isn't as polished as some. It's kind of low tech and old school the way I do things. I still film, put a camera in front of the TV and all that. I'm hoping to change that when I get a new PC soon. But going back to the beginning of, how I discovered YouTube and everything, my wife had a PC early on. I think like 2001 or 2, maybe even 2000, early 2000s, she got a PC. And she got on there right away and loved this internet thing. And she was just on it all the time. I actually used to poke fun at her. Oh, you're still on that computer? How could you get that computer all night, man? But she started finding really cool things on eBay. I didn't know what eBay was. And all of a sudden she starts finding these cute shoes or purses that she wanted, or her favorite brands at half the cost and all this. So I thought it was kind of interesting. And so I had her look, I kind of looked over her shoulder and I said, well, could you find me some old board games? And I had some old games I had as a kid that, God, I hadn't seen in years. And I wanted to kind of fill my collection of board games up. So she found a couple really cool games, Waterworks, and I think Let's Make a Deal was another one. Or no, it was called Dealer's Choice, kind of a Parker Brothers game about being a used car lot and buying and selling cars and car salesman kind of. I loved that as a kid. I loved that game, and my friend had it, and I always wanted it. So, and I was amazed, and it arrives in perfect condition. The original box, all the pieces there. Waterworks, a really cool kind of a card game. It was comprised of sections of pipe, and you put them all up. Anyway, they're great games, and I found them for frankly fairly inexpensively, and they arrived in beautiful condition. I'm like, man, this internet thing is really cool. Of course, many of you have known this probably long since, probably even since I'd say the 90s. People were already kind of on the internet. I wasn't one of them. So I still looked over her shoulder. I'd use it for eBay and all that. A little bit long, time goes by, and then Grand Theft Auto 3 came out, which I loved. And I played that all the way through and loved it. And I think Manhunt came out shortly after it. So I said, I like this Rockstar Games. I like this Rockstar Games. I said, see if they have a website. I didn't even know what a website was until the early 2000s. So she looked it up and she found, I was looking over her shoulder and she's kind of losing patience with me, but she found the Rockstar website and she bookmarked it to one of the favorites so I could go there every so often, refresh it, and see what was new. And they started having this, a new trailer, and they announced that the trailer was coming for the new Grand Theft Auto Vice City. And I go, oh man, this is going to be great, I can't wait. So, we had a dial-up modem at the time, out in the middle of the high desert in Southern California. Not the greatest internet connection at all. It took me like 7.5 hours to download this whole choppy as hell trailer, which only lasted probably 30 seconds or a minute or whatever it was. It wasn't very long. It was a short trailer. But nice little montage and clips of the best highlights of the game, and jumping in and out of the cars, and the kind of the Miami setting with the neon and the whole deal, the whole kind of Miami Vice vibe that was GTA Vice City, and it was so exciting. I remember calling my friends up, dude, you got to come over and check out this trailer, dude. I'll be over. One of my friends drove up from Orange County, and I showed it to him. He was one of my friends who would come over and we'd play GTA 3 and Manhunt, take turns playing it. Loved that. And he goes, yeah, this internet thing's pretty cool. And he didn't have a computer either, so I was like, the person my wife has when she knows how to use it and all this stuff. So I was really naive with the internet, didn't I? I didn't know about, GameSpot or Classic Game Room or frankly any YouTube or any of that till actually a few years later. So that was my early experience with the internet. Dial-up modem, painfully slow, and it was good for ordering like eBay items and stuff like that. So I really wasn't exposed to the gaming community per se, other than Rockstar Games website. That's it. A little later, we had the huge financial collapse. We lost our home. I had a beautiful home on a half acre and a big metal building out back that I refinished cabinets and painted cars in and stuff, and was looking forward to having a future there. But the economy collapsed hard and heavy in 07, 08. And I had to sell off all my favorite muscle cars and things, and we lived off that money for pretty much the whole year of 07. And I still had a chunk of money left in 08. I said, we got to get out of here. Southern California is just way too expensive. We're sick of commuting, buying a new car every other year because we're putting 120,000 miles on the cars, every 2 years. And so I said, let's go back where I said I lived in Sacramento years before. It's an affordable place. The cost of living is almost half of what it is in Southern California, and it is. So we moved up there, and I kind of started a whole new career, and we literally just took my collectibles. I took my regular Xbox and PlayStation 2. I didn't even have, at the time, when I lived down south, they had the Xbox 360. They were really expensive, so I didn't buy one for a while. They were like $1,000 on eBay. I didn't know about the internet then, so I didn't know it was even coming. All of a sudden it was here, and I saw something on Best Buy, and we have a limited supply. Get them while you can. I went down to Best Buy, huge lines. You weren't going to get one. People are putting them on eBay for $1,000. Same thing with the PlayStation 3. So for years I didn't get it. And then I was kind of in that survival mode where we're just really, in 08 especially, really tough times. There was very little money to go out to eat. I hadn't gone out to the movies for almost like a 3 or 4 year period. We were really just very tight on the budget. We were just trying to make our money last, and relocated and lived in little apartments and put all of our stuff in storage. And so I didn't know the area. I left all my car clubs. I belonged to several art society groups down in Los Angeles and automotive art groups and what have you. And I left all those friends, which I'm friends actually now through via Facebook with a lot of these people, thanks to the internet. And even some of my car buds, I still talk to through, via Facebook or Twitter or whatever. And it's a great thing. I like that aspect of the internet. But it really wasn't until we moved up here that I started to discover the gaming community. And in fact, I bought, the day that this Wolfenstein game came out in 09, I bought my Xbox 360. The same day this came out, they lowered the price to, I think, $299. From $350 or whatever it was. So I was going to get one at $350. I just didn't have the money. We were really just tight, and I felt guilty getting one. It's near the end of 09, and then I started reading that this new Falcon chip that was in the Xbox 360 was working, and that there were less problems with they said the reliability was greatly improved. There wasn't an issue with the red ring of death. So I'll go ahead and get an Xbox 360. So I love this Wolfenstein, but I got stuck on a couple levels. And my wife had her computer set up. We had a little bit better internet then. And a friend of mine said, dude, if you're stuck on a game, just check out the facts things. And I go, facts? What? And you go in there and just type in the name of the game and put in like walkthrough or something. And some strategies come up and people go through and they type out the whole deal. So I went on there and sure as hell I found how to get through. There was a level in Wolfenstein. I was like, oh, this is neat. I said, go down this hallway. You're going to go through these 2 doors. Watch out, for there'll be a heavy enemies on the right, rocket launcher on the left or whatever. I said, man, this is great. What a great way to figure out games. And then while I was on there, I just typed in Wolfenstein. A couple of YouTube videos also came up. I go, oh, wow. Oh, look, a video. I'd never even seen a YouTube video. I had heard about it. I thought they were like for music videos. I think I saw some really cool old Black Sabbath videos on YouTube. So I think I'd stumbled across it somewhere, maybe a friend's house on the computer who showed me he liked music videos, and I remember seeing. I thought that's all it was for. I didn't know it was for how to fix things and how to install things, about gaming or anything else. I knew nothing about it, or film reviews. I wasn't privy to any of this stuff. That's how naive I was. So my wife still used it, and she was on Facebook by this time. And I started spending a lot more time over her shoulder. And when she went away to work and I'd get home a little early, I'd be like, oh God, I got an hour on a computer. So I started going on the computer, looking things up. And I discovered GameSpot. And I discovered the wonderful reviews on GameSpot at the time. This was probably, actually before I got it was before 09. It was like late 08. I'd say the autumn of the late 2008. And before Christmas, that was when I first discovered anything gaming related. So I was really behind the times with a lot of that stuff. So, you know, for the most part, the fax thing was all I cared about at the time. If I got stuck in a level, I was playing, I think I was still playing, you know, some older PS2 games and stuff, but by then, once I got the new Xbox 360, I kind of stopped playing a lot of those games, including The Godfather I was playing on the regular Xbox. I never even finished it. I just loved the new games, and I went down quickly. I think I got Burnout Paradise and GTA 4. Some of those games had already been out for a while, but you'd get them for $20. So I had like 3 or 4 games, and I eventually traded in, which I hated to do, my PlayStation 2 and Xbox, and a whole bunch of games. And in return, I got tons of credit at my mom and pop store. I was able to come home with like 10 games. You know, I got a whole bunch of games for my new Xbox 360. So I kind of made the big mistake of getting rid of my collection. I just did a whole rant about that recently. But gaming was really, really cool. I discovered IGN a little bit after that, and really liked also the reviews on IGN. IGN also had some nice walkthroughs with static pictures you go through and tell you how to get through the levels and all that. Sometimes it'd even be a video showing some little gameplay. So I go, wow, there's actual gameplay. So I had never seen gameplay videos before, or Let's Plays. Mahalo Video is one of the first shows that I saw. I don't even know if it's on anymore. And they didn't have any talking over. They would just show, like Wolfenstein, they'd show levels and a guy going through the game. You don't know what, if he had it on easy or hard. You really didn't know. But it was very helpful. It would kind of show you what was coming, or if you get stuck, how they approach the situation. They go, oh, I never thought of doing that or using that weapon. Oh, that's how you take down that boss or whatever. So I quickly saw how cool it was. And I've mentioned before in other rants, shortly after, I went through it. I started looking at other Wolfenstein reviews, and I saw some people thought it was marginal. Some people really liked it. But I discovered Mark Bussler's wonderful review of Wolfenstein. And was just enthralled with his channel. His was the first channel of a kind of a smaller, not a mainstream, you know, gaming channel. And I just said, this guy's really good. Like, he had just a really rich voice, and just a great voice. He loved it. I watched some of his videos. He loves beer, you know. And I've sent him several. In fact, I've sent him a bunch of IPA mugs. You'll see him in a couple of his shots. Some of his early ones, a couple years back, you'll see him drinking out of his IPA. He has a big glass mug he drinks out of. I've sent him several IPA T-shirts and posters, and he loves it. Every time I go to the brewery, the Napa Valley is right next door, so we go to the Napa Valley on wine tours, and they've got a really cool Lagunitas brewery there. So every time I go once a year, I pick him up a couple goodies and I mail them to him. He loves it. So Mark and I have slowly become good friends over the internet. I sent him private emails and letters, and he wasn't one to respond per se on his comments on YouTube, but on, you know, via Twitter and emails, he would always respond. Sometimes it'd take him a few days, but he'd come back, and I said, that's great. So I didn't know how big he was, or for whatever reason, he liked me, and we kind of hit it off, and we talked, and I started sending more games and things his way. But I loved his thing. I remember I was saying the first week and a half, I discovered that Wolfenstein review. I started going through it. Oh, look, he has this called a YouTube channel. Look, he's got other videos. Oh, he's reviewed other games. So because I bought the Xbox 360 so late, I could see his review of you know, some of these Call of Duty games, which I had never played, you know, on the Xbox 360 or PlayStation 3. His review, wonderful review of Burnout Paradise, his old reviews of Red Faction, and a lot of these old school games on the PlayStation 2. And man, I was in heaven. I spent a week and a half, and I would put in 5 and 6 hour, you know, sitting down at the computer at night with my favorite IPA beer, and I would just sit mesmerized and just really like his random bit. He had some where he's playing with his dog outside, or he's out talking about his Lord Carnage sandwich with fresh mozzarella and basil leaves and stuff. I just said, this is so cool. Look at, he's expressing himself. I'd never seen it before. I can't describe how unusual it was to see something. Now, I had watched a little reality TV. The only show I really liked reality-wise, he had that American Chopper, which was really popular. I didn't really care for that much. I mean, a lot of people liked that show, and it was fun. I watched probably 5 or 6 episodes of it. But there was one that came on around the same time on the Learning Channel on cable TV, and went back in, you know, 07 or 06, whenever it was out, and it was called American Hot Rod with Boyd Connington. He's passed away. unfortunately, a few years back, around '08, actually, when I moved up here. And in fact, I had done a car painting for him. I was going to give it to him as a gift, and then he died literally within like a month of when I was going to present it to him. And I actually gave it to one of my friends, my old high school buddies, who I found via the internet and Facebook. I found lots of friends via Facebook, by the way, from 30 years ago, from 1979. We used to cruise San Francisco, watch a Rocky Horror Picture Show in downtown San Francisco, go on long cruises through the Napa Valley and Santa Rosa and downtown San Francisco in the late 70s, 78, 79. So I found a bunch of my high school buddies who lived less than 90 miles away from me. And I would go over on the weekends and see them, or we'll go to a brewery, go bar hopping, where they filmed the wonderful George Lucas film American Graffiti in Petaluma. My friends, a couple of them live right in that area. So it's a beautiful little town, just gorgeous little theaters and music venues and what have you. So we go over there and have a great time. And thanks to Facebook, thanks to, again, to the internet. The internet has opened up a whole new world for me. I'm able to find friends from over 30 years ago from high school. It's wonderful. I mean, virtually over 30 years since I've seen these guys. And we're the best of friends. We go over and see each other now. We don't see each other that often, but it's a lot of fun. But getting back to the gaming community, it was kind of neat seeing that there were other people that maybe weren't close by, but you could interact with them like they were right next door. I had never seen that dynamic before. Now, I had another friend that kind of, right around the same time, I was just kind of getting an OA, getting on the internet. He was heavily into the chat rooms. He invited me into a couple of chat rooms with him. And I went in, and a lot of it was politics and just interesting, trains of thought on science and politics and nature and stuff like that. I found it fascinating, but it just wasn't my cup of tea. It was fun for a few months, but I didn't have the appeal of YouTube. YouTube as a visual person, as an artist, as a right-brained person, I love what YouTube does. And it's just the whole gambit. Like I said, you got something like the wonderful, classic game room. Very polished little vignettes. He keeps them down to just a few minutes. He never goes over, 12 or 15 minutes. In fact, if he does, you usually divide it up into a couple, like part 1 and part 2 or part 3, even on a game review. And I thought that was great. But as I said, I looked through like Wolfenstein, I see his reviews, and I'd see other reviews. I started to see that it wasn't just IGN and GameSpot or even Classic Game Room, but there are other people. Some of them are really crude. I mean, really low quality, low tech cameras in a bedroom with an unmade bed and dog-eared posters on the wall and clothes hanging up in the background. Half-finished bowl of cereal sitting next to the guy at a table or something. But I said, this is cool because it was real. So it was almost like the new reality TV. All of a sudden, I stopped watching, and I unplugged. Wait, I stopped watching cable. I haven't watched cable since then. And we're just now watching, Boardwalk Empire, via Netflix and stuff like that. And The Walking Dead, I went out and bought, the first 3 seasons and chainsawed through all those in a few nights. Loved them. But I'm kind of, naive to a lot of the TV stuff. I just don't have time for it. My gaming is all I care about, and I love the YouTube. I spend almost equally as much time, maybe more so, just coming home, going on the internet, catching up on Facebook, Twitter, and especially YouTube. And then I sit on the couch, near the end of the night, I'm sore, I'm tired after a hard day at work. I'll take a pain pill and my favorite, beer, whether it's a Budweiser or, any one of my favorite IPA beers, and I have a wonderful time with my app on my 360 and my 46-inch TV, and I love just sitting there watching and catching up with my YouTube videos. I've got maybe a little over 100 subscriptions where I subscribe to my friends. A lot of them are retro channels, a couple that relate to painting and cars and stuff like that. Most of them, almost all of them are, 90% of them are gaming related. And some of them I don't know real well, and they don't produce that many videos, and some of them produce videos every day. Sometimes it's hard to catch up. Some of them produce multiple videos a day, and I can barely stay on top of it. So usually a week or two will go by, and I'll sit and I'll just watch like a couple weeks worth back to back. I'm actually doing that now with Classic Game Room. I actually got behind for about 2 weeks, and I went in last night and finally went back through and then commented on them and did my own little reviews via the new Classic Game Room website. It's wonderful. It's nice to interact. I love going in the forums. In fact, I invite you to go in the forums in Classic Game Room. Mark has got some great new questions, and he loves to interact with the fans, and it's a lot of fun. So I still love Classic Game Room. It's still my #1 channel I've been going to, since '08. But I'm really digging, frankly, a lot of the newer channels that are coming up. There's a lot of younger gamers. I love their perspective. I love the perspective of some of the older guys. I'm discovering some wonderful ones over in England. I found recently Lawnboyspost1975. Shortly after, because I saw some of his comments, I found the wonderful Steve Benway, also in England in the UK. And these guys are wonderful, just incredible vlogs. I love their vlogs. I spent probably 2 weeks just going through, Lawnboyspost1975 and Steve Benway's old post, and I found many other subscriptions that they subscribe to and some of their UK friends, and now I'm slowly getting acclimated with some of their channels, and it's wonderful. It's a great way to. I've got friends in Australia. I've got a couple friends in Canada. It's just so nice to interact with friends all over the United States, especially on the East Coast and even down south and New Mexico and Arizona and Louisiana. It's a beautiful thing. I love the ability it unites the world. I'm like just now discovering all this, so yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love YouTube. I love what it does right. Unfortunately, there's a flip side. There's a negative issue with it and the trolling, and because I'm like a Rip Van Winkle. I came out of a slumber. I'm just now discovering, the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 and YouTube. I'm kind of behind the times. I'm out of date with quite a bit of this stuff, but I still love it nonetheless. And I'm learning to appreciate what YouTube does right. I get stuck on a lot of things on my Hemi. I've modified my Hemi and my truck and got quite a bit more horsepower out of it via YouTube videos. It's a great thing. And I just, how to add RAM to one of my older computers was very helpful. There's lots of things I get stuck on, do-it-yourself things around the home. YouTube is great for that. I love that. I love watching car videos. I got guys, one of the subscriptions I belong to, they've got do a lot of illegal street racing, and it's really cool. You get to see some really high horsepower, 1,000 horsepower cars on the street at night, getting it on. It's just neat. It's like it's raw, it's fresh, it's real. It's like real reality TV. Some of them are just brief little 3-minute clips or 8 minutes. Some of them are rants that are up to an hour, like some of mine, pretty lengthy. But I love what it does right. There is a negative side, and that's actually one of the reasons why I started my own show. Because I started watching a lot of game reviews. And even GameSpot and IGN, I've said this before, about a year ago I did a rant on this, and on kind of like why I do rants and why I love gaming, something along that. I think it was almost a year ago I did this little rant on it. And the lighting was kind of dark. It wasn't the best video quality that I did. But I'll reiterate, part of why I got into this was because I would see reviews. I was so behind the 8 ball, 5 years behind, and 6-7 years behind on the PlayStation 3, 5 years behind on the Xbox 360. So all these games have been out for years, which I still can't catch up on. I got tons of games, tons of them down here, all on my shelves in the closet. And I just got the other day, I just got a brand new copy of Fallout 3 in the mail, which I had a couple years ago. Only played a little bit of the beginning, a few levels or whatever, and then my nephew commandeered it with the guide, and I never got it back. And he loves it. So, keep it. He went through and he played all the DLC. He played it on hard and everything. He loves it. So it's neat to be able to watch these reviews and see if a game is even worth picking up. Of course, now you can get them dirt cheap. I got this, for less than $20, brand new. It's a great deal. So I love that aspect about YouTube was reviews. But I would quite often say, watch these reviews, and they'd say, oh yeah, we gave this a 5.5. It wasn't very good. Poor graphic presentation. We found it boring, whatever. And I'd go, that's a shame. It looks like a good game to me. I saw the box and it looks really fun, but they said it's no good, so I pass on it. And then again, I'd watch, like Mark Bussler would review the same game. Mark mostly reviewed retro games, but occasionally he'd review a newer one on the Xbox 360, or especially PS3. He's really partial to PlayStation 3. And I knew that game, they make that game for the Xbox as well. And I'd watch his review and I go, well, Mark likes it. And Mark seems to look for the fun in games like I do. So then I take a chance and get the game and go, man, this is one of the greatest games ever. Screw this GameSpot. And I started getting mad. I would never give a thumbs down or leave a derogatory comment. I would just say that, well, okay, obviously you can't believe everything that IGN and GameSpot says. So I started looking for more local gamers, little gamers that would, doing like a YouTube videos. Some of them sitting on the front of their bed talking about it, just holding the game box. and they're just pontificating for 20 minutes of what they like and dislike about the game. And that is what I get excited about. I said, what a wonderful platform to express yourself. You can share your passion about what you like about a game or what you don't like about a game. And I get excited about that prospect. To me, that's what made it interesting. That's what made it exciting. That I could research a game that's been out for years before I buy it, and I could watch several reviews of it and kind of weigh them all out. Okay, well, 3 of them really didn't like it, but these 2 guys who I personally like, and I like the other games that they liked, they weren't wrong before, they said it's a good game. So I got excited about that. So then along, we had this GoldenEye Reloaded 007 came out, like 2011 or 12. I'm not sure when. My eyes are so bad I can't see the little tiny date on here, but it's this was a great game. I really enjoyed this game and played it, and it was made by Eurocom, which unfortunately is gone now. And I love the 007 games. I played this From Russia with Love, which I bet down here somewhere. Where the hell is it? Oh, here it is, up here. From Russia with Love. I played this and loved this. I actually had this on the Xbox originally and played it all the way through twice, and then put it on the hard level and played through the whole thing again, unlocked all the hidden bonus levels. I love this game. This is one of my favorite regular Xbox games of all time. I wish I could go back for the very first time and re-experience this game all over again. The music, just the even having the real voice of Sean Connery and the likeness of Robert Shaw and the other villains, stuff made this game for me. I love this game. And I even went back just because I couldn't watch old reviews of this. Some people liked it, some people didn't, but I really liked the game. And so I've been looking for a new Bond game. So then I discovered this, GoldenEye Reloaded, and loved this. And everyone said, "Oh, this is going to be a remake of the Wii one," which everyone seemed to really like. I guess it really took off on the Wii. Well, I didn't really want to I didn't want a motion control deal, so I never got the Wii, and probably still wouldn't get it, although I'd take nothing away from those that like it. But GoldenEye Reloaded I loved and got very excited about playing. So a little bit later, in 2012, they come out with this 007 Legends. Now, at this time, I had contemplated, around this time, I had already had my 3-part interview with Mark Bussler in Classic Game Room. He interviewed me about my gaming experience and history and favorite games, how I discovered Classic Game Room. And he took the time, very nice of him, to talk about, my car paintings. I have another website, deanscoolcars.com. And there's a link on top of my YouTube page that talks about it. And I was able to share how I make the car paintings and talking about doing some future paintings I'm going to do. When I have downtime, which isn't often, I crank those out. Soon I'm going to be doing my gaming art, as I've talked about recently, including a new painting for Mark Bussler, which I'll be working on soon. So, getting thirsty. So I was excited to have this interview with Mark Bussler, and I started toying. I get a lot of people to, you should do your own show and all this. And I just talked about that recently, how I got into doing an Escape to Gaming, where I came up with the concept and all that, in a recent blog I did. But I really toyed with it, but I didn't know if I could do it or not. I knew nothing about it. I ended up eventually I got a little camera. I got a used secondhand flip camera, HD camera, which has good quality picture. I'm going to get a Sony Handycam that has controls and motion blur a little bit, because I want to do more drives in my truck. I did a couple of them in my truck, and the camera moves around, doesn't have the compensation for the movement, so I need to get one of those to do more driving rants and stuff, which I want to do in my Hemi truck or my Malibu or whatever. But this game 007 Legends comes out in 2012. And I loved it. It's made by the same company, Eurocom. It actually, in my opinion, is a step up from GoldenEye Reloaded. Better level design. Now they're adding blood. When you shoot someone in GoldenEye Reloaded, they just fall over. What, did the guy have a heart attack or what? You shoot him with a BB gun? You couldn't tell. This, they'd have a little blood splatter. The animations when they'd fall down and die, I thought was better. The level design was much more epic in this, more colorful, more vibrant. And it was going to correlate and come out with a new Bond film that was coming out. Which, I can't remember the name of it now. A wonderful Bond movie with Daniel Craig. I can't remember the name of it. It'll come to me. Too much partying over the years. But this 007 Legends, I love this game. And I could not believe the hate in virtually every review that came out. They just shot it down, low score. And I go, it's illogical. It's better in every respect than GoldenEye Reloaded. Has the same split multiplayer, which some of my friends really liked. It had wonderful split screen still. Many of the same exact features they had in GoldenEye Reloaded, but now they get more of the Bond gadgets with the laser watch. There's just much more to it. But yet, it had the even more authentic Bond music, going back in time, taking one from a Sean Connery Bond, from a Roger Moore Bond, a Daniel Craig. They had like from each of the different Bond eras, even from Her Majesty's Secret Service. They had one of each Bond actor. They had a segment in there, and you could relive these Bond moments with the authentic music. This game is a gem. I love this game. And then later they finally would allow you to download the final chapter once the new Bond movie came out. They had this. Skyfall. That's it. It shows right on the back here. The 007 Skyfall movie, which is wonderful. I love it. I have it on Blu-ray. And they had the final Skyfall mission at the end, which I still haven't played the final mission yet. I'll have to go back and play, but I do have the DLC. And I was shocked that it got hate and bad reviews, and this game was what really motivated me to do my own YouTube show. I just said, wow, how can people, it's illogical. It's a better game in every respect, and I think a lot of it is expectations. The GoldenEye was so well received the GoldenEye Reloaded so well received on the Wii, that I think that this new one that was, kind of ported over, they completely redid a new gaming engine and everything, and it was completely done fresh with even better HD graphics for the Xbox 360, and I believe the PlayStation 3 as well. So I was excited about this GoldenEye Reloaded and loved it. So I had no doubt that, Legends was going to be good. So I just was shocked that it said it's illogical. And I said, I want to say something about this. I found like one guy on the internet, I think it was Review Zone HD or something, did a posit. He also liked it. I remember corresponding with him at the time through the comments. And I said, good for you for making a stand. I love the game. And he goes, I love it too. I don't know why it's getting so much hate. He liked Sniper Elite V2, which I think is the finest sniping game ever made. One of the most wonderful stealth games. I love it. In fact, I'm looking forward to the new one, which I'm hoping will be out this year for the PlayStation 4. I'll jump on the new Sniper Elite 3. That's going to be awesome. My kind of game. So a lot of those games are they're not as popular and mainstream, but I really like them. And I wanted to say something about it. I wanted to have a platform, so I said, I got to do my own show. And I'd already had, that was kind of like the push over the cliff. So I had friends of mine that said, Dean, you should do your own show. I go, I don't know anything about this setting. You just just get Sony Vegas. I don't spend $100, whatever it was, Best Buy. Got Sony Vegas, installed it in my deal, and had a friend that showed me how to do it. And kind of walked me through here. I'll give you the basics. And I knew just enough to where I could put a video together, take a little piece of it out, overlay a photograph or some game footage. And I'm still learning. I'm still really fuzzy with a lot of what you can do. I've only scratched the surface on what you can do with Sony Vegas. But it's enough for me to put together my little montage. I created all my own. I have like 6 little 34-second intros, and I rotate them. I go through all 6 of them. And I have 2 extra ones that are extra long, which I don't use anymore. They're just too lengthy. But I did cut them down considerably. And I made my own little exit video. And some people go, what's with the deal with the truck doing a burn? Well, it's kind of like my metaphor for leaving work. I'm daydreaming about games all day. And I did that 400-foot burnout with my Hemi truck. Just kind of like a metaphor for I'm leaving for the day and going home to game. That was my escape to gaming. That was kind of my thought on it. For those who wonder, what the hell does that have to do with gaming? But I love cars. People know I love movies, and I love cars, and I love art. So I have multiple facets and sides to me as a person. I mean, it's just not all about games. It's other things I love. I love my movie collection. I've got over 5,000, DVDs and Blu-rays and VHS movies in my collection. It's huge. I'm eventually going to try to chug through and show the film the rest of it for those that want to see it. I got a huge CD collection as well for my favorite music. I love music too. So I'm a multifaceted person. I'm an artist. I like to create things. I'm an ex-set painter from the movies and did a lot of that stuff. So I created my own sets and painted. This is a darker gray here, and I have a lighter gray, and I did this orange stripe and kind of designed this little theme, which many of you have seen on my show. And I said I wanted to do something a little bit more polished, still kind of low tech, but just have a nice, cheerful set and just right to the point and talk about what I like about games. So I was excited to do a review of 007 Legends, and I did, and I gave it a pretty good review. You can go back and watch some of my old reviews. I think I reviewed, Far Cry 3, Forza Horizon, Hitman Absolution. I tried at the time to review everything as it was coming out. It's hard for me to keep up with them all now. I mean, to do all of those reviews. So now I do more impression videos. I'll, get a new game and I'll just do, an hour and a half, couple hours, and I'll play it and I'll do just the short impressions. Oh, I really like this game, it's getting good and whatever. And if I really like the game and finish it and follow through, then I'll do a review of it. But I got my friends' reviews I go to. But if a game I see is getting an unjust beating, and I've done some, even this, recently, this XCOM Declassified, the Bureau, got horrible reviews. And it's a great game. I just had a friend of mine, Cameron, that I think he just finished it recently. And he loves the game too, and goes, God, I can't believe all the hate the game's getting. And it's nice to see that there's someone out there, at least I did a positive review of it. I'm sure there might be a couple. That game I haven't looked too much. I think I watched 3 or 4 reviews on it. Unfortunately, they were all bad. People were just, yeah, it had potential, but it was no story, it's cold, it's lifeless. Everyone had something negative, derogatory to say about it, because they don't look for the fun in it. That's why I wanted to do my own YouTube show, because I look for the fun in games. I mean, I played the Road Warrior this last year and finished it from start to finish. One of the worst games, first-person shooters, you could play. Everyone would laugh at that. God, you finished that game, but you didn't finish Bioshock Infinite? I had fun with it. I'm a huge Mickey Rourke fan going back to the 80s. Mickey Rourke actually was the up-and-coming, Brad Pitt, Nicolas Cage, whatever, of the 80s. The early 80s and mid-80s. He was a fantastic actor. He kind of went downhill, took a real nosedive with his career. I still follow him today, so because of maybe that's kind of what got me through the game. I liked all of his flavorful, colorful expressions and the swearing, and his voiceovers in that game kind of made that game. About a Navy SEAL. It's very crude in more ways than one. Some of the visuals aren't the greatest. It's got some interesting gameplay elements, but again, I had fun with that game, I could add that to my guilty pleasures, and I did a whole guilty pleasures thing with taking all these low Metacritic score games, and I had fun with it. And did a little more, I think a top 10 guilty pleasures. And you can see, I don't think I have Rogue Warrior in there, but I have a lot of other ones that are, some of them were poor. I will agree, there's things visually about them, or gameplay isn't the greatest, but they're fun. They're still fun. And I look for the fun in the games. That's why I wanted to do YouTube, to counter all the negative reviews. And it makes me feel good that I can add my 2 cents on contemporary games. I'm just now kind of getting to older games. Over the summer, I just obtained that PlayStation 2 and had fun doing a couple little gameplay shots of Road Rash, Twisted Metal Black, the original Twisted Metal, and I think I might have done a couple different games. I just recently filmed a little bit of footage from, Wolfenstein Return to Castle for the PlayStation 2 Operation Resurrection. A little footage of that when I found my new composite cable setup, which really works good. So it's exciting to do gameplay. It's exciting to watch the gameplay of others. Phil at DSP, I've watched a tremendous amount. I watched his entire playthrough of Dead Island, which a lot of people hate the game. It's horrible. I suffered through it in single player and couldn't play it anymore. It's really a co-op game. But Phil had 3 friends of his over, and they played the whole game in co-op. Or maybe they did it online. I don't know if they were all together or not. But it was one of the funnest, most entertaining gameplay videos. It was like 170-something parts, some outrageous amount. It took forever. That's a long game. And I sat through every single gameplay segment of that game and enjoyed his playthrough of it. So YouTube is quite entertaining for me. There's times where I come home and I'm just drained. I'm dealing with customers and problems and headaches and people and multitasking, juggling my schedule all day. I don't have the mental gymnastics that go through a game, but I'll come home and pound a beer and just put on YouTube, and just my problems melt away, and I get delight in watching my friends' YouTube videos. That's why I wanted to do my own, just to kind of add my 2 cents, my perspective as an older gamer. If I see a game get unfairly beat up, some games have it coming. Some games are broken, like Amy, the poor Star Trek game, which I still would love to play the game all the way through and finish it. I just got hit too many brick walls and had to redo whole levels. I just couldn't do it anymore. So those games I can agree are bad games, and Jeff Gertzman I remember when he first started playing a Star Trek, he put on Twitter, "Oh, this game's not very good at all." And I go, "Why is that, Jeff?" I actually kind of confronted him on it. And he later said, "Yeah, the game is very buggy and lots of problems." I go, "Oh, that's too bad." And then when I got the game a little afterwards, I quickly saw for myself that it really was buggy. So I still like watching a lot of my favorite game reviewers like Jeff Gertzman. I love these guys that have been around since the old GameSpot days. I didn't agree with Jeff on his review of Kane and Lynch 1 or 2, but I respect his opinion and like it. And I'm not opposed to bad, YouTube reviews. I like to see them all. I like the full gambit and full range of reviews that are out there. But that's what I love about YouTube. That you can stand on a platform, a soapbox, you can talk about yourself, you can talk about the things that you like. I could do, one I watched recently when, people are cooking, making something in the kitchen, eating a sandwich and talking about games, or they can even deviate from games and kind of segue into something about their personal life, a little road trip they took. In fact, I'm thinking of filming a little road trip, maybe to my little mom and pop store next time I go. And if they'll let me take the camera, maybe I can film some of the games and the great selection of PlayStation 1 and 2 games and Xbox games and all the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 games that I enjoy going through. I may do a little piece on that soon. I like that prospect that you can do pretty much whatever you want. And people, for whatever reason, seem to like it. I'm delighted. I have over 150 subscribers now. I had 100 just recently, a few months ago, and all of a sudden it jumped up by 50. I don't know how. And I'm thrilled that there's 150 people that, for whatever reason, like what I have to say. And I feel kind of self-conscious. Oh, God, that last, rant I did, went a little over an hour. I've never done one that long. But I had a good time. That was like in one take. I think my cat came in and moved the tripod and the phone rang or something. I had to make like 2 brief clips in it. But other than that, I just run the camera nonstop and film it. And I like that. I could make it more polished and edit, make it not repeat myself as much. And there are things I'm sure I could do that would maybe make it somewhat more appealing. But I just, for me, this is real. I just film myself talking, and I love to share my passion for gaming. I love gaming. I love the current games. I love the next-gen games, or the new-gen games that we're experiencing now. I mean, I just got, my wife got me, for my birthday, December 29th, I got this great Call of Duty Ghosts. Well, I didn't want to play this without playing the wonderful, Call of Duty 4 and Modern Warfare 2, and I just yesterday got the Modern Warfare 3 and picked it up. I'm on the second to the last level on 2 now. I can't believe how wonderful these Call of Duty Modern Warfare games. I was really only digging the World War II stuff. I didn't even really want to play these. And I had a couple friends, "Oh, Dean, really, you'll like them, play them." So I did. I take the advice of my friends. Again, off YouTube. It's a beautiful thing. I love what it offers. It's a community of friendship, sharing games that you love, your favorite gaming experiences, the things that just ignite a passion in you and get you excited. And so I'm excited about playing this. And people are jaded with first-person shooters, and that's another point. Is that one of the reasons why I wanted to do my channel? Is I saw a lot of YouTubers, some of them are in it for the money. They just want the views and the subs and to try to make a buck off it. And that's fine. If you can do that, I take nothing away from it. I don't monetize any of my videos. I became a YouTube partner just to extend my time limit from beyond 15 minutes to now I can go over an hour if I want, whatever. That's it. The minute I was able to do that, I unmonetize all my videos. And I'm fine. It's a hobby. It's just my way. Instead of going on chat rooms or forums, it's my way to interact. It's my way to stand on a soapbox and express myself as a gamer, as an old, 51-year-old gamer, of my experiences from the arcades, from the late 60s of playing board games and on Hot Wheel tracks and slot cars and playing outdoors and skateboarding. I was a big skateboarder. I was big in car clubs and going out cruising in the late 70s and early 80s. So there are many hobbies I can no longer do, either economically or physically. I'm not able to do them. And gaming has become my new favorite hobby. I've some physical limitations now because of I was in a fatality, car accident, head-on collision back around 2000. that took the life of the drunk kid that hit me. So there are many things that I can't do. It's all I can do to physically work throughout the day. I mean, I've got a lifetime prescription, for pain medication and for therapy for the rest of my life, because I'm never going to be the same again. So gaming has all of a sudden become a portal to escapism for me, to a new world. I mean, I've always loved movies and popping a VHS in, or a Blu-ray or DVD, and letting my problems melt away and taking in a two-dimensional film, and I love that. But games take it a step further. You can interact. You can change the outcome of the game quite often. I like that. I love it when it gives you multiple endings and linear pathways that can break up, going the high road, the low road, using stealth, going full bore, guns blazing, kicking in doors and shotgun to the face, the whole deal. I like having options in games. Games gives you the option. You create the outcome that you want for your own little homemade movie. It's cool. And never have I loved games more than I do now. I've always loved them. I've gone through dry spells where I didn't even play games for a couple months. Frankly, when I moved up here in '08, I wasn't gaming for probably 2 or 3 months. It was just I was in a survival mode. And then eventually I found them, got them out of their box and hooked them up, and then I would start chainsawing through all my favorite games again and getting new PlayStation 2. I think the last PlayStation 2 game I was Twisted Metal Head On. And then loved that, went through all the levels on that, and then eventually gave that to my nephews, and they played it when I got my Xbox 360. But games have got me through hard times. And there's something about the magic of sharing them on YouTube that makes it even more special. It's like you can immortalize your feelings. People could go back a couple of years from now and go back and see some of my old videos from 2012 and watch those old reviews just the way I did. I find it an old used game. In fact, I just did recently, I downloaded last night the Guardians of Light, Lara Croft, the Guardians of Light, free on Xbox Live Arcade if you have Xbox Gold. I had heard about the game when it came out, knew nothing about it. So what did I do? I went on YouTube. First place I looked. There's tons of gameplay. I watched a couple of reviews of it, and I said, wow, now this is worth downloading. So I went and, it took me, like an hour, but downloaded the whole game. A couple gigabytes of space on my hard drive, and now I got this wonderful, beautiful, Crystal Dynamics did a great job on it. It looks really good. Got this great, Xbox Live Arcade game now on my hard drive. It's great, and I did it because I took the time and went on YouTube and looked through some videos. So YouTube, I place a value on. I don't know whether people place a value on, my 2 cents on games or not, but again, I have a few fans or friends that like what I do, and they've sent me PMs with very nice comments, and it means a lot to me that for whatever reason someone likes something about me or my persona or maybe my recollections on games or gaming from the old days or whatever. It's a cool thing. I like the feeling and the vibe of interacting with my friends. I try to interact with all my friends in the comments. There was a period of time where initially I wouldn't accept this new Google+. I tried it twice, and it wouldn't have let me keep my profile picture over. There were some things it wouldn't let me do. It actually censored a few comments from my own YouTube videos, and I don't know why or how, but they marked them as spam, and then all of a sudden they were gone. I couldn't even get the comments back. So I don't like censorship of any kind. I'm not thrilled still with this Google Plus thing, but I had to go. You got to go along with this stuff. So I don't know how much longer YouTube is going to be the wonderful thing that it is now. I hope it doesn't change too much. I hope we're not going to lose it, because it's a beautiful way of expressing yourself, a beautiful way of sharing what you love about games, game collecting. I love pickup videos, unboxings, gameplay videos. I have friends that just do multiplayer, and that's fine. I don't watch a lot of their videos, but I'm excited for them that they find the fun in the multiplayer, and they like to share their best matches. That's great. I have other friends that just only like NES stuff and Super NES stuff, and that's all they care about. And I love watching their videos because I'm thinking about getting a Super NES again. And I've even talked to them, how much are they? Oh, you really get them that cheap? And, the games still play on them? Oh, that's great. So I like interacting with people. And YouTube has become my favorite, even more than Facebook and Twitter. That's how I like to interact with people, through the comments. Some of the channels are so big, they can't read all the comments, or they won't comment back. It is what it is. I'm just thankful that I have the exchange that I have. I always love to give a thumbs up and give my support to the things that I see and like. I say, that guy has a nice attitude. He did a good review. He's got my thumbs up, and I'll leave a positive comment. And I'll like that, and hopefully someone will see his video through my Twitter thing or to see that, oh, Dean like that, and then they'll watch it and then they'll subscribe to the guy. And I've had a few friends that have done that. They found some of the same cool channels that I have. And it's great. I love it. Just this morning I found 2 more channels. Another guy up in Canada, another retro gamer, you know. It's just so cool. It never ceases to amaze me. Just when you think you've seen it all, you really haven't seen anything. It's enormous what's on the internet. So the internet for me does it right. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about the future of gaming. I can't wait to get all these old school systems this year. I'm going to get probably 3 or 4 old systems, you know, the Super NES and the regular Xbox and Panasonic 3DO, and maybe I'll even get additional backups of those if I really like the games and the consoles themselves. But it's never been easier to get games, never been easier to see game reviews. If you get stuck on a level, you can see someone else has also had the same issues. You can watch their playthroughs. That's what I like about it. That's what Escape to Gaming is all about. It's the purest form of escapism through your mind. Your mind is a wonderful theater that you can take, arena that you can play your favorite fantasies through, you know, RPG games or FPS games. You know, I like, you know, imagining when I play World at War. God, it's horrible. I can't imagine what my grandfather went through in the Solomon Islands, and you get a little taste of that when you play a game like World at War. Or you play the big red one, you know, in the regular Xbox, you know, the old COD game. Those are great games. And YouTube just shows that whole spectrum of everything I love about my favorite hobby. I'm so delighted to be a part of it. And I really wanted just to take the time to thank each and every person that's watched these videos, and even the long ones. It means a lot to me. I appreciate your support. I appreciate the fact that, you know, you've been there through thick and thin. I've had a few friends that didn't agree with me on my stance on the new Xbox One and the new Kinect deal. And I'm actually, you know, parted their ways as friends with me over that, because I didn't realize they were such fanboys. And they attacked me on it. I tried to rationally, with intelligence and logic, Spock-like logic, tell them why I had an issue with it. But that wasn't good enough for them. So I've lost a few friends in the process, but I've gained so many more. So it is what it is. I'm still kind of learning the ropes with it. I'm still behind the times, so bear with me with my struggle to embrace technology and what's new. But I love everything that YouTube has to offer. I got some friends downloading some videos now. I can't wait to watch them tonight. And it's exciting. I just never get tired. It's a big part of my life. I love the gaming community. YouTube makes it possible for us to stay in touch and to share our feelings. I'm going to try to do more video responses too. I hate to see those things go away. I'm at least glad now that Google Plus allows you to, at least you can embed the link to your videos in there, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to be doing a lot more videos real soon. Again, going back to my Escape to Cinema, I'm going to do more of those. I'm going to be following up on that real soon. I'm going to have a couple fun segments and even some gameplay coming on the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 1 games real soon. So thanks again for watching, guys. Enjoy your games. Have a wonderful weekend. And thanks so much for watching.